Now, my friends, the time has come for More Movies, weekly, number 41.
1,200 kilometers in diameter, bearing 24.41 degrees.
Hello there, and welcome to the podcast that likes to talk about all things film, cinema, movies related. My name is Greg Fisher. His name is David Roberts, and we're here to talk about Licorice Pizza. Hey Dave, how's it going, buddy?
I'm not too bad, sir. I'm not too bad, and how are you?
I'm okay, thanks. Not too bad myself.
Good.
This week we've both had a chance to catch up on a film that we've been really desperate to see. I know I have personally. For a good couple of months now. It came out, I think, just before Christmas time. Theatrical release only. It's only just been released for home consumption, and it is Paul Thomas Anderson's latest film, Licorice Pizza. Before we go on talking about the film, I just want to issue a kind of a spoiler alert that if you haven't watched this movie yet, you may not want to stick with us just for now. Maybe you want to skip to the next chapter and listen to us talk about some other stuff, and then come back and hear what we thought about Licorice Pizza. If you have watched it, of course, stick with us, see what we thought. Let's compare notes afterwards in the comments. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Good. Okay, Dave, Licorice Pizza. Go.
Yeah, a really great film, a really great experience of a film. It's a journey that is really driven on its character work and the performances of its cast, more than anything else. But yeah, tremendous fun. Kind of very excited about it from the trailer that we thought was going to be great fun. Probably the nearest thing to compare it to in most recent years would be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. For the fact it's going back to this, in this case it's the 70s, but it's going back to that kind of era on the kind of west coast of America. Mm-hmm. And it stinks of the nostalgic visuals and feelings and music of that period. You really do get to kind of walk through a world. It's like stepping back in time, and he does a remarkable job of doing that. Absolutely tremendous fun.
Brilliant, absolutely excellent intro, my friend. I agree with everything you said there, particularly Once Upon a Time in Hollywood kind of reference there. It very much is almost like a sibling movie to it in that way, because Quentin Tarantino, Paul Thomas Anderson, they're good friends. They're kind of like friendly rivals in a way, contemporaries of one another. And when I was watching this is exactly what I thought. I thought it's just a couple of years after. Obviously, most of the stuff that takes place in Once Upon a Time is 1969. This is 1973, so just a few years later. But as you say, within that period, we've got some relatively unknown actors in terms of their film careers, in the shape of Alana Haim and Cooper Hoffman as the two leads. He is the son of Philip Seymour Hoffman, who has worked with Paul Thomas Anderson many times in the past. Obviously, poor guy, he passed away a couple of years ago. But now his son's on the rise, and it looks like Paul Thomas Anderson's like, I'd like to work with you as well. He did a great job, I thought. Considering I've never seen him in anything before. I mean, he must have done some acting before. This is not his absolutely first acting job. But
it's his first film, though. I think
it's his first major movie, and I thought he did an amazing job in it, as I did with Alana Haim. She is part of the band Haim with her two sisters, who also appear in the film as her sisters. They're sort of background characters, but they're there all the same.
Yeah.
So we've got the whole band. I think we've even got Mum and Dad.
Sunday Night Movie presents some of the most outstanding feature films in motion picture history.
Excuse me? What the fuck?
Mother and Father Haim are in there playing her mother and father. Some great comedy scenes there, in a sense, a little look into their world. Very much enjoyed that. We've also got some big time players like Sean Penn's in there. We had Tom Waits in there, who is obviously, again, another famous musician, but also has been quite prolific in his acting career as well. He's worked with Jim Jarmusch a lot and other people over the years. Tom Waits, he's never really been the lead in a film properly on his own, but he's had some prominent roles. I always remember him quite fondly in Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula. He's a little bit crazy in that. Really funny. He plays a good role here. He's only in it a little bit.
I need 3 wingback chairs from the bar. I need a bottle of Everclear. I need plenty of grease from the kitchen. And I want you to meet me on the 8th hole by the sand trap. 2 minutos.
For me, it was about love, a young love as well. And, you know, all of those great things that come with being young and free and footloose and just, like, you know, trying to stake your claim in the world.
It is the crux. The crux of the film is them, their relationship and how that evolves in that includes other people within that, and a film with some embedded kind of jealousy that runs throughout for all kinds of reasons, that really plays itself out. It has been one of the things that it's been criticised for, hasn't it? The age gap between the two. But I never felt that was it's explored in it, obviously, because it is a thing. But, you know, it kind of shows the kind of
innocence of it.
The innocence of it and the complicated reality of life in terms of...
Yeah. Relationships.
They are in love.
Yeah, and then you can't choose who you fall in love with, sort of thing.
Exactly.
But really, like all great Paul Thomas Anderson films, it basically what unfurls throughout the movie is a series of adventures and misadventures that kind of just happen to them quite naturally, just through whatever it is they happen to be up to at the time. And as Tom pointed out to us, our friend, you know, didn't feel like there was any solid beginning, middle, and end. It was just, you know, it just carried along following these characters. But as you say, I think that was the whole point. It's kind of, in some senses, based in a reality, and even if just in a narrative sense.
Yeah, I kind of that's kind of one of the things we were picking up afterwards about the structure of the film. Is probably the biggest criticism that can be thrown at it, because it does at times feel a bit kind of, where are you going with this? And it can be a little bit loose sometimes. But further thinking on it, it's really a film of 3 acts, isn't it? That are kind of isolated from each other, but intertwined still, because they're really based around his business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What he does for work kind of sets, and obviously she is doing stuff at the same time in these acts.
Yeah.
But these 3 acts are what plays up kind of different periods of the film. And that kind of follows the kind of periods of their relationship to the point of, will they, won't they?
Yeah.
Will
they, won't they get together? Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's like, I suppose you're right there in the sense that the first bit is the kind of end of his acting career, or, you know, the sort of twilight of it, of him being a child star. The middle bit is him selling the waterbeds, and the end bit is him doing the pinball arcade. There's some reference to our pinball machines have become legal or something, and I thought that must be based in some sort of fact that they were illegal for a while.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
Because he took that information from the political... guy, didn't he? That he overheard the phone conversation. It's been made legal. I think they said since the 30s or something. So I'm guessing it was like in that state in the Prohibition era or something. It was banned, and then came back or something.
Yeah, there must be some sort of reality in it. If you know, let us know in the comments and fill us in about the history of pinball in California. It's kind of interesting, I think, anyway. But yeah, I mean, talking of favourite scenes, if you wanted to go over just a few while we're still talking about this, I really loved the scene where she was introduced to his agent, because he's trying to get her some work as an actress in the industry. There's some really, really funny stuff in there.
Any other sports or special skills that I should know about?
I studied Krav Maga.
I don't know what that is. What is Quick Draw McGraw?
Yeah, Harriet Sanson Harris, very funny. I really laughed out loud at a few things in that scene. I thought she was brilliant in it. I also loved the restaurant scene with Sean Penn that builds up to the motorcycle jump.
Yeah, that's funny shit.
There's some laugh out loud stuff in there because he plays this character who's supposed to be like sort of again like a bit of a Rick Dalton, isn't he?
Yeah,
sort of aging, fading star who was once a sort of Steve McQueen type, where the old motorcycle jump and stuff like that, and it worked with Grace Kelly and whatnot. And he's kind of latching on to her a bit. And she's all for it because, she's all for any opportunity to become rich, successful and famous herself. So she's sitting there with him in the restaurant, obviously making Gary jealous as well, who was turned up with his own girlfriend. So
yeah.
But funny stuff. And something, again, you won't see that in any other films. It's kind of original in that way.
I loved all the stuff with Gary's friend who owns the Japanese restaurants, Jerry, and every time
brilliant.
he goes for a meeting with him, he's got a different Japanese wife.
Yeah,
and in typical kind of 70s America, out of touch, totally un-PC fashion.
Yeah,
he doesn't speak Japanese, but he's trying to do.
He speaks English with a really heavy Japanese accent, doesn't he?
Accent, yeah.
Right. Okay, of course. Let's just. Oh, Miyoko, how you think of this? What do you think of item for newspaper?
And he does it a few times, and you're thinking, does this guy think he can speak Japanese? And that's the way he does it, but then he fesses up at that one point, doesn't he? I don't actually speak Japanese. You just think, but it's funny. It's that idiosyncratic character that Paul Thomas Anderson does really well. I think there's just like little things in there that you think, well, you're never going to forget that.
Good to see you.
How do you do?
Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you.
All right.
Hi, Miyoko.
No, Miyoko's gone. This is my new wife, Kimiko.
Hi, Kimiko.
Pretty as a picture.
Very funny. You also got Bradley Cooper in there playing a very, very, very strange character.
Who doesn't appear in it that much. I mean, from the trailer, you kind of guess, he's going to be a big part in it, and he's not in it too long.
He's kind of very intimidating character, isn't he?
And he's a bit gropey and weird.
Oh, he's very, very gropey and weird, and he's obviously high on some stuff as well. He's a bit off his rocker. He's supposed to be going out with Barbara Streisand.
Sand?
Barbara Streisand.
Sand.
Yeah, like sands. Like the ocean. Like
Barbara Streisand?
No, like Streisand.
Sand.
Funny stuff, though, and brilliant, brilliant Paul Thomas Anderson film. I love his films. Very big fan of his films, to be honest. And this is just another great one in the canon, I think. I'll definitely watch it again. It's one of those films, after I'd watched it, I thought, I'm already looking forward to viewing it again at some point.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I do want to get to grips with it again in a couple of months and kind of rewatch it and rethink about it, because I think there's a bit more to be
analysed,
sculpted out of it. My initial reaction was, it's very good. It's not as good as previous Paul Thomas Anderson films, which are pinnacles, but it's a very good film. I don't think it's Best Picture.
That's what I was going to ask you next. It's obviously up for Best Picture at this year's Academy Awards. You don't think it's going to get it?
Well, it might. I don't. That's always hard. Whether it will get it or not. But if I was to pick,
no, that's what I mean. What's your opinion? You don't think it's going
to? I don't think it is myself. I don't know why, but it just doesn't. No. I didn't come away thinking that.
No, it would be a surprise if it did. But having said that, if it did win, I'd think, why not? I mean, I always think it doesn't really matter anyway. Just to get nominated in something like that just shows that you've done a very good job. I mean, How can we say one's better than the other? There's no way to measure these things. But, good luck to it. Good luck to Alana Haim if she continues to act in stuff and do other things. She's very good. And I think we're seeing the start of something very promising with Cooper Hoffman. Hopefully,
I think so as
it's large shoes to fill, but he's certainly done a great job of that in this movie. He came across very naturally, and I liked him. I liked the character.
Yeah, he did a tremendous job, and he's got a really interesting look
Yeah.
about him. That was like,
quite natural, quite
something-
honest, I thought.
Oh my God.
So there you go. Have you seen Licorice Pizza? If so, let us know what you thought in the comments. But there we go, Dave. I think that's it. Have we finished our pizza? Any slices left for me?
Unfortunately not. I mean, that's the one thing the film didn't have, any pizza.
Zero.
Or licorice.
Zero.
So, in other movie news, there's a few things come out this week. The first one was about Batgirl. It's been leaked, possibly, that we would be seeing a Batgirl movie in December this year. It's set to star Leslie Grace as Barbara Gordon, or Batgirl. She was in The Heights. And it would be directed by Adil Al-Arbi and Bilal Fallah, who did the Bad Boys for Life film. But there's this kind of leak that's come out. It's not been officialised yet, but there will be seeing a Batgirl movie at the end of the year. Now, interestingly, this will be a DCEU film, and so it won't have anything to do with the new Batman film, which is imminently about to be released. Neither will it feature Ben Affleck's Batman from the DCEU, because Ben Affleck is stepping away from the role. But it's likely to star, apparently, Michael Keaton's Batman, who is, of course, supposed to be coming back in the Flash film.
He definitely is in the Flash. There was a teaser trailer come out where you see basically the back of his cowl, with the pointy ears. But it's very interesting that it seems to be not just in that, because you'd assume with someone like Keaton coming back to the role, it's just like they did with the Spider-Man thing. It's just, we'll have you back, but that'll be it now,
Yeah, exactly.
But obviously not. Maybe that's got more to do with the decision that Ben Affleck didn't want to play Batman anymore, and they pulled Michael Keaton's strings back and said, here's a few quid, Mike, get back into the suit. We'll let the stunt double do all the crazy stuff. No one will ever know. But
I think also the pressure kind of from the new Batman film, with them not wanting that to be part of the DCU, that's been driven by the cast and the directors and stuff of the Batman film.
Yeah.
That they've kind of had to turn somewhere else. If there's no Ben Affleck and the new Batman, Pattinson, his franchise is not part of this extended universe. They've had to turn elsewhere.
It's a bit of a mess, isn't it, the old DC universe, to be honest. But compared to Marvel, which is sort of, had all their ducks in a row, and it's kind of like, we know what we're doing here. But not to write it off, though, it might be really, really good. Batgirl, I remember Alicia Silverstone played her, didn't she, in Batman and Robin?
Suit me up, Uncle Alfred.
Shame she's not coming back. But I'm open-minded to it. I'll wait to see some sort of like trailers from it and different footage and stuff. It sounds pretty cool.
And it'd be interesting to see what they do in The Flash. Michael Keaton coming back. I mean, it's intriguing.
Definitely.
Of course, loved Michael Keaton's Batman from the 90s, but it's a long time ago now. And I love Michael Keaton, but...
Yeah, well, he's been back in the superhero or comic book movie sort of genre. He was obviously in Spider-Man with Tom Holland. He played the Vulture, didn't he? J.K. Simmons in there as well. He's sort of playing on both sides of the fence there. He's Commissioner Gordon nowadays. Well, that's what I was going to say as well. So it's interesting that they're keeping the new Pattinson Batman separate from all of this. But I also heard a rumor that they would maybe be doing Joker 2. And with Joaquin Phoenix now, and there may or may not be some sort of associated Easter eggs with Pattinson's Batman.
Yeah.
What do you think about marrying up those two different ideas?
Yeah, it's intriguing, this. if there was any marry up, Joker and Batman would be the one. I wouldn't want them to either one of them to get involved in the DCEU thing. 'Cause I think tonally they're too far apart. And it would be very interesting to have kind of the Joker Batman standoff again in a cool, dark way. But I have just a little niggling feeling at the back of my head that's just like that Joker film was really, really different from anything else as it was.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like be really careful what you do with it, because I think it could just as easily be fucked up from what it was. Because, as many people said, it almost could have not been a superhero movie.
Sure.
You know what I mean? The way it was. So, interesting. It's kind of a.
I just think it was like you said. It was very interesting what you said about the tonally different from the rest of the DCEU stuff, and I'd agree with that in the sense that it's a lot darker.
Yeah,
but so is this Pattinson film. It's going to be a hell of a lot darker.
No, yeah.
So I think there's space there for it. But the other thing I've seen as well is because it's always been one of those ones that fans of it have always said he'd make a great Joker, but. People have been saying, what about Willem Dafoe? Because obviously Pattinson and Willem Dafoe were together in The Lighthouse there. They're already familiar with one another in terms of working together. And I've seen somebody mock up an image. I'll see if I can find it to put it up now, of Pattinson's Batman and Willem Dafoe done up to look like the Joker. That would be interesting. If we didn't have really Joaquin Phoenix as coming back as the Joker, it would be good to see someone like Dafoe, who people have sort of said for years, "Oh, he'd make a great Joker," and we'll have to see though, because it's like Pattinson said when he was being interviewed about this. Let's just get through the first film first before they're talking about all the others. But it's inevitable, isn't it? I think it comes with the territory with these comic book movies. Is never just going to be one. I mean, like I said, they're even talking about doing a sequel to the Joker, which, as you pointed out, was very good standalone piece, and maybe should just be left as such. So, you're absolutely right that they can easily mess it up by going too far with these things. But hey, we'll have to see.
Yeah, and also in news this week, Steven Spielberg has been reportedly attached to another big project. This time, it's going to be a film based on the 1968 film Bullitt, of course, famous with Steve McQueen. Not sure if it's a remake. It sounds like it might be just something that's kind of based on the Bullitt characters. But this is, again, Spielberg going back to films he loved from many years ago and approaching them, which kind of also ties in with, he's got this new film coming up, The Fabelmans, which is a kind of semi-autobiographical film. So it seems like Spielberg's in a bit of a nostalgia path at the moment for the films he's taking on.
Well, one article I read about this Bullitt project is that he has apparently been wanting to make a film about the character Frank Bullitt for years and years. So it's more than likely going to be a film about that, like just bringing that character back, getting somebody to play it and having a new adventure with him. As they do with these characters, how many people have played, James Bond or Jack Ryan or things like that. So it's interesting. It would be kind of a nostalgia trip, because you'd imagine that if he did do something like that, you'd maybe want to base it in the times that the original was set. That sort of late 60s kind of era. And if he does do something like that, it'd be interesting to see what he does with it, because we know he's great at recapturing any time. Really, if you wanted to go to World War II with Schindler's List, or the 50s with West Side Story more recently, he can do it probably better than most. So it will be interesting to see if he does that. The only thing you're not going to have from it is Steve McQueen, and it's one of them, isn't it? He was Bullitt. There was only one Bullitt film. It was Steve McQueen. It's one of his most famous and beloved films. I'd say that and The Great Escape, so it's big shoes to fill for whichever actor would get selected for the role.
It definitely is. It's definitely big shoes to fill because, as you say, it is such a beloved film. It's iconic in cinema, isn't it? It's one of them. I love Bullitt. I think it's a fantastic film. But Spielberg is one of the masters. He doesn't do bad films. He's a fantastically talented man. So if you it's like the West Side Story thing. If you were to trust someone to take on a project like this,
you want the best. Yeah,
exactly. So it could be really great fun.
Yeah.
I don't imagine it'd be bad.
No.
So
it's not so much whether it'd be bad or not, it's just whether it's a good idea. But like I said in the article I read, he's for some reason or another, he's been keen to do something with that character for years and years now. So
must be his favourite childhood character.
Maybe. Well, he's a little bit. He started working in television around the time Bullitt came out. So, but interesting. Let's see what happens there. Watch this space. I wonder if we'll get another car chase through the streets of San Francisco again.
Hopefully.
That just leaves us enough time to tell you what else we've been up to on the internet this week. We had a trailer reaction released earlier in the week for Studio 666 featuring the Foo Fighters. A favourite band of mine. Dave kind of likes them too, so we thought it would be a good idea to react to that trailer. So if you want to see us have a little chat about that, the link is in the description below.
Absolutely. We've also got a review up of Power of the Dog. That's right here on the YouTube channel, or of course on our website as well. We'll have a link in the description down below for you to check that out.
Please join us on social media. We are at More Movies For You across the board on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all of those ones. You know the score. You can also have a chat with us on Discord. We have a Discord server there, so if you wanted to come say hello over there, there's a link in the description below.
And if you want to listen to us in audio-only format, maybe you want to listen to us on the go, or perhaps whilst you're cooking in the kitchen, you can do that by listening to us on all the major podcast platforms. That's Apple Music, Spotify, etc. We have a link down in the description below for you to check that out.
We also have a new article up on the website, our top 5 John Hughes movies. So if, like myself, you are a child of the 80s and like John Hughes, you might want to check that out and see what 5 films we listed as our top 5 by John Hughes. Link again, of course, in the description below. If you like what we do here over at More Movies, you may wish to donate and help us out, help us to keep the lights on, keep the website going, pay for a couple of movies we've been watching or something like that, then you can donate at buymeacoffee.com. Our link is in the description below. We also have a Patreon, so if you wish to become a pledge and sign up for one of the packages there and have a say in what films we talk about on the podcast here or we review, then the link to our Patreon is also in the description below. Well, that's it for another week, Dave. I think we're all wrapped up there. That's number 41 in the can, ready to go out and be broadcast across the world on the internets. Put it out on the line.
On the line.
Objection. When you keep saying on the line, you do mean online.
Stuart, don't do that. You don't do that to a man.
It is on the line. I like your googliness. Any final thoughts before we go, my friend?
I've got this real hankering now for having a stuffed licorice crusted pizza.
Oh, God. Imagine it. Would you really eat pizza with licorice in it? Don't answer that. Let our viewers decide. Stuffed crust licorice pizza, yes or no?
That's it for this video. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. And remember to like, share and subscribe right here on YouTube. For more film reviews and articles, check out our website moremovies.co.uk. And join us on social media at More Movies For You. That's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all across the board. You know the score. If you enjoy what we do, please consider supporting us at buymeacoffee.com or join us on one of our packages on Patreon. The links are in the description down below. And for more filmtastic content, click one of the buttons on screen now.